So what if our AI tools were actually designed to understand how we think instead of forcing us to think like them? Today, we're diving into a project that's trying to answer that exact question. Let that sink in for a second. An autistic worker said an AI was the only thing they could trust for communication. I mean, why? What does that tell us about the tools we're all building? It really points to this huge, massive gap in how AI works for a lot of people right now. And the answer to that why gets at a really fundamental and often kind of invisible problem with most AI today. They're built with a hidden bias in the way they communicate. What this means is that for neurodivergent users, people with ADHD or on the autism spectrum, getting those long, unstructured paragraphs from a tool like ChatGPT can be incredibly frustrating. These tools are built for one specific kind of brain, and if yours doesn't work that way, well, you're pretty much forced to be a translator for your own tools. And this slide shows the problem perfectly. On the left, you've got that classic wall of text that AIs love to spit out. Sure, it's technically correct, but it's a nightmare to actually use. But on the right, that's what so many people actually need. The same info, but broken down into a clear, actionable list. See, one is just a data dump. The other is genuinely helpful. So this communication gap is exactly what a project called Jentle AI was designed to solve. It's all about building a much better bridge between the user and the AI. So instead of that one-size-fits-all model, think of Jentle AI as a custom-fit communication partner. The core idea is simple, but it's also pretty radical. Adapt the AI's behavior to the individual user, not force the user to adapt to the AI. That is a huge shift in design philosophy. And this really isn't just about building one app. The mission here is so much bigger. Jentle AI wants to tackle that neurotypical default, make AI outputs genuinely clear and useful, and cut down on that frustrating cycle of reprompting over and over. But the biggest goal? It's to create a blueprint for a way more accessible AI ecosystem for everyone. Okay, so how does this personalization actually work? The process is surprisingly simple, but it is incredibly powerful. It all boils down to a really simple three-step process. First, the system just asks you what you need. Then it translates all those needs into a special set of instructions for the AI. And from that moment on, every single response is designed specifically for you. During that initial onboarding, the system asks a few key things, like, do you prefer concise bullet points? Do you want a formal tone? Or something more casual? Do you maybe struggle with executive dysfunction and need tasks broken down into tiny pieces? All of this is the raw data that fuels the whole personalization engine. And this is really the secret sauce. All that user data is used to build a custom instruction manual for the AI, which is called a system prompt. So, for example, for a user with ADHD who needs help organizing their workday, the system might quietly tell the AI, you are an executive function coach. Your goal is to break down complex tasks into small, actionable steps. Always present information in a numbered list. Just like that, the AI has a clear role and a specific set of rules to follow. Of course, when you're building a tool that adapts so closely to someone's cognitive style, you have to be incredibly careful. The ethical side of this is huge, and getting it right is everything. The single biggest concern is something called masking. That's the risk that the tool could accidentally pressure neurodivergent people to hide their natural communication styles just to conform to neurotypical standards. So the question is this tool a bridge, or is it just a better mask? To deal with this, the Jentle AI framework is built on two pillars that are completely non-negotiable. First, total user autonomy. The user is always in control. They can accept or reject any suggestion. This ensures the tool empowers, it doesn't dictate. And second, strict data privacy. The system only collects what is absolutely necessary. And this part is critical. That data is never, ever used to train the base AI models. So all of this brings us to the biggest takeaway from the Jentle AI project. And it isn't just about this one tool, but about a whole new vision for the future of AI itself. What we're seeing here is a fundamental shift in thinking. Instead of building one massive generic AI that tries, and let's be honest, often fails, to serve everyone, this approach argues for a much more human-centered future. The real goal is a validated framework that any developer can use to build AI that's more thoughtful, accessible, and truly personal right from the start. And this is the provocative thought Jentle AI leaves us with. It challenges all of us to imagine a future where our technology doesn't just process information,
but truly understands and adapts to the diverse and wonderful ways we all think. A future built not on generalization, but on personalization.